Hi guys, what is going on and welcome to today's weekly Outlook video. In this weekly Outlook video, we are going to discuss the weekly plans for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Euro against the dollar, GBP against the dollar, and also gold against the dollar. We will start off with our analysis on Bitcoin and Ethereum, followed by our analysis on the other pairs that I just discussed. Before we dive into today's video, I quickly want to discuss that this video is sponsored by Prime XBT. They are offering the best spreads if you want to trade Forex and commodities with your own funds. We actually released a user guide on Prime XBT in our free Discord server last week, exactly explaining how to use Prime XBT, and also currently we are running this promo over here with Prime XBT where you can get up to 25% of a deposit bonus. If you deposit $1,000, you get $250 for free from Prime XBT to use for trading, and you can withdraw all of the profits to your own wallet. Now over here is also where we have this user guide on Prime XBT exactly explaining how to get the best spreads possible. Now, after this quick sponsor, I quickly want to discuss the current state of Bitcoin, because we can see that Bitcoin, guys, it's still range bound. Last week, we saw a bit of a dip over here on Friday during the NFP data release after we got this push up and this deviation above the range high. Now, currently, we can see that we are definitely struggling to get back above the range high. And that is something that we have to keep in mind, okay? I quickly also want to switch on our 0.75 level over here for the Bitcoin price, and we can see that the 0.75 level is also definitely a pivotal level for Bitcoin. Crucial resistance over here, resistance, support numerous times over here it was resistance, and over here it was support. So also keep an eye on that 0.75 level, but we know that until the range break, we have to try and take the most out of it. So currently on the higher time frame, I think it's a little hard because over here we have this huge wick, right? If I'm quickly going to remove this, we have this huge wick over here on the 4-hourly time frame, and I've been teaching you guys that these wicks are a big draw on liquidity. Now beneath this wick we have another low over here, so basically we have these equal lows over here aligning. Now beneath those equal lows is where we have this hour 4 order block. So this is very, very clean. This is a very nice and strong order block. Why is this a strong order block? Because above this order block we have a strong breakout candle to the upside, and that breakout candle left behind this bullish fair value gap on the 4-hourly time frame, as you can see. So we have a bullish fair value gap aligning with this bullish order block. Now we're quickly going to check the lower time frame. We can see that these equal lows are aligning right above this order block over here, okay? The only thing that worries me is that this order block wasn't formed with a bullish sweep of liquidity. So usually you want to sweep liquidity before the order block gets formed, and that's where you get the confirmation that the order block is extremely strong. So that is definitely something to keep in mind, and is telling me that I'm not really comfortable with setting limits beneath these equal lows inside of this order block, anticipating a bounce over here, okay? So there's a few things that we can do over here. We can anticipate a little bit of a confirmation over here, and that's where we enter a potential long position, or we wait and we see the reaction, and then we decide whether we want to enter a long. So basically we are also range bound over here, okay, with our range high approximately being this area and our range low being this area. So we can see this might have been a deviation of the range high. Now we can anticipate a potential deviation of the range low before potentially running towards a range high area again. So both on the higher and lower time frame, Bitcoin is currently range bound. I quickly want to have a look at the fixed range volume profile of last week. So if we're going to start at Monday, drag it all the way towards Sunday evening at midnight, we can see currently we fail to get back above the value area high. Usually when you fail to get back above the value area high, you should get a move towards the value area low at some point. And that is definitely a level that we could be watching as well. But personally, not really interested in getting engaged in Bitcoin until we get some kind of a dip over here, at least towards this value area, low area. That's definitely an area to keep our eyes on, to potentially look for some trades. Why? Because on some exchanges we did actually sweep below over here. Okay, so on this exchange we didn't, on Binance, but on some exchanges we did. So let's say we look at this price section over here, and let's say bullish sweep of this liquidity, right? So this liquidity and the liquidity obviously beneath this low, and also with these higher lows building up over here, that we're building up a lot of liquidity. So let's say the liquidity got swept and we got an impulse up afterwards, right? This is the high that brought us to this low, right? Because we had this high, higher low, higher high, lower low compared to this low, lower high, lower low compared to this low, right? So the high that we needed to break in order to shift structure bullish again was this high. And we definitely did break that high over here, right? With this impulse up, we broke through that high. So basically on a 1 hourly time frame, we are looking at a bullish structure. Now, if we are going to look at this price section over here as a range, we can potentially anticipate a bullish PO3 pattern, AMD, right? In which we're currently looking at accumulation. We can wait for the manipulation part over here before we get that expansion upwards, okay? That is definitely something that I would be watching over here for the Bitcoin price. Okay, so we are potentially looking at a bullish liquidity sweep. We're potentially looking at a bullish shift in structure. Now, if we're going to go from our swing low to our swing high and we switch on our premium and discount, we can see that over here, we definitely have some more sell-side liquidity aligning with our discount. If we're going to sweep it, we can potentially look to long this one back up, targeting this liquidity over here at first and potentially some higher levels as well. Okay, so this is definitely something that I would be watching for the Bitcoin price. We have this value area low over here. We have this interesting level over here, I would say as well. I think this is an interesting area to keep our eyes on as well. Now, invalidation for a potential long over here would be beneath this low over here. Definitely something that I would be watching on the Bitcoin price. If we do get a sweep of the sell-side liquidity over here, I'm definitely interested in longs to long it back up towards this liquidity, and potentially higher. Now the other scenario would be to start looking for longs beneath these lows over here. Not really looking for shorts yet until we start seeing some bearish sweeps of liquidity followed by shifts in structure. Then I'm looking to short it, for example, over here on the pullback. Okay, that's it for Bitcoin. Now let's continue with our plan for Ethereum, because Ethereum definitely has an interesting chart as well. Ethereum, just like Bitcoin, still trading inside of this extremely boring range. Now, we just need to make sure that we're trading this range until it breaks. If we are going to switch on once again our 0.25 level over here, we are seeing something interesting, because we can see that the 0.25 level has been getting respected in the past very, very well over here, just a little bit of a front run, big resistance over here. Now, we have this low being formed over here last week, right? I think this is previous week's low as well, if I'm correct. Yes, this is previous week's low as well. Now this low is being formed right above this hour 4 order block. So we have this order block on the 4 hourly time frame over here, and that order block aligns perfectly with this low that we formed over here. This is what we call an inducement. This inducement is being formed right above our hour 4 order block and also our 0.25 level of this clean range, our quarterly of this range. Now, on top of this order block and this quarterly range, we have this bullish hour 4 fair value gap over here. As we can see, beautiful hour 4 fair value gap aligning with this area as well. Now, on this move down, we are seeing a beautiful liquidity buildup. We can see constant lower highs being formed. On the 4 hourly time frame, it's not that visible. If I'm going to check the 1 hourly time frame, we can see that on the lower time frames, constantly we are forming these lower highs that are building up this draw on liquidity. Also, with this move upwards and this sweep of liquidity over here, we got a very quick move down. And I think that this swift move down will get recovered at some point. Okay, we are going to recover some of that move down because I don't think a lot of market makers were able to enter that area. So also this hour 4 fair value gap over here, this bearish one, will act as a draw on liquidity because I kind of expect the market makers to fill up that gap sooner rather than later. Now, all the way on this move up, we saw a bullish sweep of liquidity over here that resulted in this break of structure, and we pumped all the way upwards. Now, I'm kind of expecting a similar thing potentially for Ethereum. I'm kind of expecting another sweep of liquidity over here, just like we saw over here. This is where we ended a beautiful 5.5 RR trade that we took profit on all the way at this high over here. Now I'm kind of expecting potentially a similar kind of thing for Ethereum, in which we are getting a sweep of the low over here, of last week's low, into this bullish fair value gap, into this quarterly range, into that hour 4 demand area, in which we are going to find support over here, in which we are going to pump it back up. This would be my first main target. Second target would be this fair value gap. A third target would be a potential deviation above the range high over here. That's my main plan for Ethereum right now. Personally, not setting limits yet, but if by tomorrow we haven't swept this low and we also form Monday's low somewhere over here, I'm definitely interested in limiting, in setting some limits over here with our invalidation potentially over here or over here. I'm not too sure about that one yet, but definitely interesting potential swing long trade being developed on the Ethereum price. Now continuing with our first Forex pair, we can see last week definitely saw some crazy price action on euro against the dollar. Definitely very, very volatile, very, very aggressive as well. Now on Friday with the NFP data, we dumped very hard and then we pumped very hard. Okay, a lot of people got wrecked over here. Now, currently, we are seeing that we have swept this liquidity over here. I think on most brokers, we swept this low as well. And important that we broke structure to the upside over here again. Now, that means structure is bullish. I think this high over here and also these equal highs over here that we put in during NFP will act as some draw on liquidity this week. I think there's a decent possibility that we are going to see some more upside on euro, especially at the beginning of the week. The first news events will be on Wednesday, so there's also a decent possibility that until Wednesday we're just going to move very slow and very choppy over here, and then maybe we will start to form some kind of a range over here, in which on Wednesday, during the first day with a lot of news events, we are going to see a little bit of a manipulation area over here, and the manipulation area will be followed by this distribution area over here, taking all of the buy side liquidity. This is currently my main plan for euro, potentially looking for longs. I prefer to look for longs right now over short, and if we do, we want to wait probably for Wednesday where the manipulation area will take place. So let's say today and tomorrow, hopefully we see a little bit of range forming over here. On the Wednesday, we get a dip. We sweep the sell to liquidity. We get inside of this demand area over here. That's where we look for longs, targeting this buy side liquidity and potentially this one and this one. Okay. Also for euro, just a little similar compared to Ethereum. I think at some point we are going to recover this liquidity pool over here for this very, very swift move down. Okay. I think at some point in the upcoming days and weeks, we are going to see a squeeze towards that area where we're going to take and recover that candle. Now that's the plan for euro. Plan for GBP, quite similar. Also GBP saw a sweep of most of the liquidity last Friday over here, as you can see. So we swept these equal lows over here, and the sweep of those equal lows also for GBP resulted in a break of structure over here, as we can see. So also for GBP looks a little stronger compared to euro right now. I'm also anticipating a move up towards the buy side liquidity. Okay, so we have this liquidity buildup over here. We have this unswept high over here on the hourly time frame, and this high as well. So something to keep in mind potentially for GBP and euro is that maybe euro will form a lower low compared to the Friday low, right? And GBP is going to form a higher low, in which potentially we can anticipate an SMT divergence. If you do get an SMT divergence over here, in which either euro or GBP will form a lower low and the other pair will form a higher low, that's some extra confirmation that we are going to see more upside and we are going to sweep all of this buy side liquidity over here. Same for GBP as for Euro. I do believe that there's a decent possibility that we are going to see some range forming, that we are going to see some choppy price action over here, and on Wednesday get a manipulation area into the demand area potentially over here. That's where we start to look for long positions, targeting this buy side liquidity over here. Very clean plan. Okay, if you do get the opportunity to maybe get into some trades within this range, make sure to take aggressive profits, because on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, that's probably where the proper moves are going to be occurring. Now let's move over to one of the most interesting charts out there right now. We can see that gold did have kind of an insane squeeze over here, partially due to the war that is going on, unfortunately, in Israel and Palestine. Horrible. Don't really want to talk about that right now. I think it's a topic for another day, but because of it, gold is definitely pumping over here, okay? But it's not a coincidence, because the sweep of liquidity, the 3-dive pattern, was already occurring before the war even started. Now, after the 3rd drive into the liquidity, we saw this break of structure, and this break of structure was indicating that a potential bottom was in. Saw some consolidation over here, and then today we squeezed higher due to that news after the market opened. But even though it's hard to believe, it was already on the charts once again, guys, and that is something that a lot of people don't understand. News events, guys, they don't change the price action, they only speed up the process of it. Now, I'm anticipating higher prices for gold. I was already telling you guys last week, I'm looking for potential accumulation, manipulation, expansion. You can check it out on my Twitter, you can check it out in my Discord server, and it has been playing out beautifully so far. I'm anticipating a higher move. I think at some point this week we are going to take out this buy side liquidity. Why? Because we saw the sweep of liquidity over here, right? That sweep of liquidity was followed by this break of structure over here, and now a lot of people are blindly going to short the pullback, anticipating lower prices. The problem here is that there's only one high on this complete move to the downside that can cover someone's stop loss, right? Because people can't put their stop all the way over here, because it will not be worth the RR. They can't put their stop over here because of the RR. The only high to cover their stop is this high over here. And that is why I think that smart money will target this high to unload some of their buy positions, to unload some of their long positions, and potentially accumulate shorts. This high will be met this week. That's what I strongly believe. So that means that we can anticipate potential buy plays, potential long plays on gold against the dollar this week. If we're going to go from the swing low to the swing high, we're going to switch on our premium and discount. We can see that our previous consolidation area, that our demand area over here, aligns beautifully with our discount. That's the area where we'll be looking for potential longs on gold. If we are going to get a clean retest like this, I will be looking for longs over here. Maybe we sweep the demand area over here. If we shift structure and we sweep the liquidity over here, I will enter an aggressive long play on gold, targeting this high over here. Okay? So personally, definitely looking for swing longs on gold this week. Definitely looking for scalp longs that can turn into swing longs on gold this week. Definitely anticipating higher prices. Also for gold, guys, potentially range forming, manipulation on Wednesday, distribution on Thursday. Okay? Doesn't necessarily mean that we have to pull back all the way into the discount. If market makers want everyone to miss out on this move, they might front run the discount, accumulate longs over here, and expand upwards very aggressively over here. That's definitely the scenario to keep into account on gold, okay? Because everyone is waiting for the discount. They might front run it, they might leave everyone behind, and we might go for that buy side liquidity over here without giving people the opportunity to get in on the move. If you guys do have any questions after watching this weekly Outlook video on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Euro, GU, and also gold against the dollar, make sure to ask me all of the questions that you want in the comments down below or in our free Discord server. You can find the link in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on Wednesday's video. Ciao, ciao.